meeting of the Elk Grove Park District for July 22nd, 2021. Could we have a roll call, please?
President Cook.
Here.
Commissioner Bianchi.
Here.
Commissioner Carlson.
Here.
Commissioner Wells.
Here.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Here.
And I'd like to update for those that haven't got the updated agenda. We're going to take off item 6B. So if you have a 6B on there, that will be removed since we're addressing that topic under one of the other sections, 9A. So there's a duplicate entry there. Okay, first I need approval of the minutes for July 8th, 2021, the Committee of the Whole minutes, and July 8th, 2021, the regular meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that approved, because then the meeting. I want to hit this thing today.
Cracking yourself up.
Crack myself up.
It's awful loud.
Waking the group up. Okay, public audience comments. Any comments from the audience? No? Okay. Correspondence, any commission have any correspondence? Let's share. Okay, recognition of special guests. Tiffany, you want to introduce us to our guests?
I do. So first is Nicole. So I have a little bio on Nicole. Nicole received her master's degree in kinesiology of sports management from University of Central Missouri. She has over 7 years of full-time management experience in the sports industry, running various aquatics and sports facilities that she is excited to bring to the Elk Grove Park District. Nicole came to us from the private sports sector as the director of operations, running 2 different sports facilities with soccer and futsal leagues, camps, soccer clubs, youth programs, business partnerships, rentals, and events. Nicole's first day at the district was May 11th and had to have all hands on deck to make sure the summer season for aquatics was ready to operate. Nicole is excited to be working for the Elk Grove Park District and is ready to bring her expertise to enhance the aquatics department. So welcome, Nicole.
Hey.
Welcome.
Nicole, come
You can't see unless you come to the microphone.
Good job, TV.
You're not getting out of that easy, Nicole.
Right here.
The microphone.
Give the residents a target.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Nicole?
Oh, come on, we have to have some questions.
You're the president.
So what do you see in our aquatics that you want to change or make better, improve on anything?
I'd like to add more programming for the community. So like adult lessons, enhance our private lessons, add more special events.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions for Nicole?
No,
Okay.
kudos to you and your Rainbow Falls staff for
Congratulations.
such a great summer. Brenna's up next. So this is Brenna Bowers. Brenna received her bachelor's degree in wellness administration with a minor in business from Monmouth College in 2018. Brenna comes from working in the hotel industry as an aquatics manager at Blue Harbor Resort in Wisconsin. She was in charge of running the day-to-day operations at the water park. Brenna came back to the recreation industry. She was a part-time lifeguard and swim instructor at Tenley Park, and she received her first full-time job in recreation at the Norridge Park District. At Norridge, she was in charge of aquatics, youth programs, and special events. Brenna received her certified pool operators certification last October. Brenna's first day at Elk Grove was on May 17th, and she is very excited to continue her aquatics career here at the Park District. So welcome, Brenna.
So you're looking forward to all the programs that Nicole wants to increase?
I'm all for it. I'm also wanting to get water polo too, because I played water polo in high school and college, so I want to get that up and started too.
Fantastic. Any questions?
No, just a comment. Brenna, if you can take this phone number for the both of you. This was actually a resident that I approached Jeff Collier with. She had some questions on our river walk, the frequency of it, how we do it 3 times, and the admissions, and how to get people in, and it's some constructive criticism and some complimentary feedback. And so I was going to give the number to Jeff, but she just wants the phone call from somebody so that she has a voice. So if one of you two could call her, that'd be awesome.
I can handle that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, Brenna. Next up, Deanna Rafidia. Okay. So,
That's how I do martial arts.
okay, you can perform your dance now.
Yes.
Okay.
My interpretive dance up for speech.
So Deanna comes to Elk Grove from the Roselle Park District. She served the Roselle Park District for 2 years part-time as a dance instructor and 3 years full-time as the cultural arts supervisor. Deanna was in charge of the district's dance, theater, and music programs, as well as various special events, including the annual Mother-Son Ball. At Roselle, Deanna had the privilege of being a part of the safety committee and participating in the district's strategic planning initiatives. Previous to joining the Parks and Rec world, Deanna co-directed a dance and theater art studio in downtown Chicago for 6 years. She has produced over 15 theater productions, over 50 dance recitals. Deanna holds many dance certifications and is an inducted member of the International Council of Dance Arts. Her first day at Elk Grove was April 12th, right before the Seussical production, and she has been welcomed by an amazing and supportive staff. So welcome, Deanna.
Welcome.
Any questions for Deanna?
Yeah, Elk Grove, yeah, we have to ask you the same thing. Anything in Elk Grove that you like, or anything that, any type of ideas that you have that you want to bring to our
So theater
community?
is probably my main focus when I first started. I mean, I can project, but.
Yeah.
Theater is my main focus when I first started here, just because I feel like the past two staff members that were involved in theater knew a lot about the Parks and Rec world, but not so much about the theater and cultural arts world. So I find a lot of things that can be enhanced for our theater department and actually make it something that's accessible for all community members, like adding in some of the younger kids classes or doing like a community theater, so that way some adults or high schoolers that have been in theater and don't really have an opportunity to continue to do that have somewhere to be accepted. And then obviously our music program is a little light, so I'm hoping that we can try and get that up and running as well. Our arts program though is doing pretty well, and we're trying to revamp that and get that a little bit more exciting as well.
On your theater side, can you give any inside ideas or what your process is on choosing what's going to be the next play? You've done Lion King, we do Seussical. Do you look to see how many young parts there are because we have more young kids, or how do you find out what's the right play? Because I know if you pick the wrong one, we pay money for it also to get, right. So what's your process on even picking what's the next play?
Sure, so it's kind of hard to really have a specific process. You kind of have to look at what we've done already in the past, and you have to see what's popular and what's something that you think might be really interesting for participants. Roles do kind of play a little bit of a factor. We don't ever want to pick something that has like 20 lead roles, because the chances of having 20 lead role participants is very slim. But it's just about thinking what is going to be exciting and what's going to really interest people to want to participate in. If you pick something like a no-namer, from Broadway that maybe I think is really cool, it might not necessarily translate well into younger youth that are interested in participating in theater. So like some of the popular Disney productions are always an easy go-to, as well as Wizard of Oz, or things that people have really heard of and know well and already can sing the songs in their head, or something that makes it an easy option.
Yeah, we go out to Des Plaines to do them. Where did Roselle go?
We actually were very lucky. We just walked across the street and did it at Lake Park High School's theater.
Okay.
So we actually had the full high school auditorium that we utilized. And we were pretty lucky to have some staff there that was also really good at sound and lighting and things like that. And that was kind of just part of our package, so we didn't have to pay extra for it. Luckily, the 15 shows that I've had to produce in Chicago has trained me to be very savvy in light boards and sound boards and pulley systems and everything like that. So I'm hoping that maybe as we grow the program, we can actually hire some of our own people that would be in charge of that, rather than having to outsource and contract and pay lots and lots of money.
Yeah, Jessica's program ends up at Harper, so what is actually stopping us from having it at Elk Grove High School?
I think in the past it's been the conflicting schedules, and so I don't know if we could
Yeah,
coordinate.
availability.
Availability, yeah, that they were.
So something that we are trying to do too is offer more theater productions. I think it had been offered a lot more in the past, and then it kind of started to get pushed back, and we're trying to offer a little bit more now too. So I think having flexible schedules is, for us as the park district, might help open up the opportunity to use Elk Grove as well. But that's a really good tool to utilize to do the intergovernmental.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't hurt to go back and see what,
What's available.
yeah, because I think when when there was an availability problem, they went to Harper and they found access there and just kind of stayed there, you know?
Right.
So it'd be a good time to go back and revisit something new and fresh and
Absolutely.
maybe
Or,
whatever opportunities they
Conan
have.
as well. Conan's on the west side. If Elk Grove has issues.
Right, and something that we're already starting to kind of communicate with every schools about is their Thespians Honor Society and utilizing them because oftentimes the regular Honor Society needs hours that they have to put in for volunteer work. So the Thespian Honor Society does as well, and they actually know about theater and would be better utilized than regular Honor Society students to have volunteers backstage moving sets and working some of the light and sound stuff so that we don't have to outsource for that as well.
Seriously, there's a west side of Elk Grove?
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome to Elk Grove.
Thank you.
Okay, next, recommendations for acceptance and approval. Item A, acceptance of a bid from Hacienda Landscaping Incorporated of Minoka, Illinois, for the development and construction of a large playground structure, including the installation of the pour-in-place surface at J.C. Park, the amount of $209,572.
So moved. Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. And Ben, can you remind me, when is the construction of this starting?
Well, assuming this is approved, we can start as soon as August 2nd, which is next Monday,
Okay,
a week from.
Have we already notified the residents that surround the park there?
Yeah, they're actually part of the process, but we'll notify them. You know, usually what we'll do is put up a construction fence. The residents around there knew because they were part of the process too that we're doing.
Okay, well, I'd still like to have a letter sent.
Okay, I'll see what Valerie may have done there.
Especially particularly the ones that surround the park, because they're gonna have fencing and equipment and noise taking place during the construction. So I just wanna make sure that we notify them in writing that, you know, current date when we're gonna start that, so.
Okay,
Okay?
you can do that.
Any other questions for Ben? Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Yankee?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
President Trump?
Yes. Okay, committee reports, capital projects, Commissioner O'Malley.
We have not met since you assigned the committees. I did speak with both Brad and Ben tonight. We're going to meet on August 12th. We have not picked a time based on availability, if you're going to have a committee of the whole meeting or not. Certainly for the general public, our emphasis has been on the Hattendorf Oslad work and certainly the golf course 9.5 million project. But, you know, we'll take a look at all the capitals that have been performed so far based on our 2021 budget, and I'll update you guys on some of the more interesting ones, meaning some of the playgrounds, the Salt Creek potential expansion, and a couple other ones. So that's August 12th.
Okay. Any questions for Commissioner O'Malley? Okay, Finance Committee, Commissioner Walls.
Corporate fund, all expense categories are under budget except for capitals due to the Perry weather system. That was because we didn't know that was coming in at budget time. Net year to date, 100,290. How do you say that? 1,290, so like a million?
Yes.
Thanks. 1,290,000 compared to a budget of 644,000. Rec fund, fees and admissions, 589,000 compared to a budget of 828. Program fees were 618,000 compared to a budget of 882. All expense categories are under budget. And then the golf fund, there was 4,300 rounds in the month of June. Total rounds June through the end of June to date is 12,788. That's got to be pretty close to a record, right?
Compared to previous years, it's pretty.
Maybe going back to like the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Still doing very well.
Still, yes, doing well.
All expense categories are under budget except for contractual, which is the credit card expense, which we're getting a lot of out of the, we'll call it the trailer. The driving range, net year to date is 76,700 to a budget of 23,718. And then this last sentence is also for the driving range, right? Net year to date, 209,000 compared to a budgeted loss of 86,000.
That's for the whole.
To go with the golf fund.
That's for the golf range and course.
Correct.
That's it.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Walls? Okay. Committee of the Whole, our last Committee of the Whole was on July 8th. We had bids come in for the Fox Run fencing, which were higher than budgeted, so we decided to not move forward at this point, and we're going to rebid it possibly in the fall after prices go down. We also, Director Curcio advised us the U14 travel baseball team had their tournament canceled in Disney World, unfortunately, but they were lucky because they found another tournament to play in, and so it wasn't a total loss. And that was all from that committee report.
Were they over budget, under budget?
Pardon?
Nothing. Just talking to Bob.
Any other questions? Okay, that is my report. Athletic Committee, Commissioner Bianchi.
House Baseball is offering a fall season this year, and registration is currently open. Recreation soccer registration is also open. Travel baseball will be having tryouts on July 25th, this Saturday, at Lions Park. I know there's information out on social media and the Park District website, so check that out. That concludes my report.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Bianchi? Okay, Golf Course Committee, Commissioner Carls.
Well, we met last week out at the course and toured the new clubhouse. It's come along real well. We saw a lot of the finished material. It's going to be really nice looking. They're doing drywall, framing the bar up. They're coming along pretty well. The course is in very good shape, and I commend Tom and Dennis and all the staff for the job they're doing, especially since they don't have a clubhouse. So they're doing really well with the trailers, as far as I'm concerned.
And for those that haven't been out there, the trailer is a double wide or triple wide? Triple wide, so it's not a small place. It's a decent sized place that you can have a beer and sit out and watch the course. There's the glass all along to one side. So for being a makeshift clubhouse, it's pretty nice. And so if you haven't been out there, definitely check it out.
Bar, it has the gambling, it has enough seating for probably 35, 40.
Yep, so still a great place to hang out and get out and enjoy yourself.
So that concludes.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Carlson?
It's golf related. I was going to take it up under old business, but I want to talk a little bit about change orders at the golf course, because in the past, when we did any kind of project, the maintenance building, aquatics, anytime there was a change order, it came to the board to vote on it. You know, if somebody was over, or it's just a change order. It didn't matter if it was $2,000. This is the year through Brotman and Busby. So the fact that Quinn has paid one lump sum, does that take us out of the legal requirements of having a change order that this board approves? Because what I don't want to get into is money could be over budget and it's just automatically coming out of a contingency fund, when usually that's something that the board okays money to come out of the contingency fund. So if that's not the case, I certainly want to go on record as staff needs to be communicating with the board. If they're spending contingency dollars without informing us, that has to stop. So I'm not saying that's happening, but I will say if it is happening, it does need to stop. But what is the process with change orders? I thought it was a legal requirement that we had to approve change orders, certainly over a certain dollar amount.
No, your recap of the history is correct. This is a little different, a monumentally different type of construction agreement than those that we've employed largely in the past. It's an AIA agreement that provides for the construction of a project with a construction manager at risk under a guaranteed maximum price, GMP. So there's a lot of detail in the contract that discusses this, so the procedure is required to be followed as set forth in the agreement. It does differ, as I recall. I mean, it's a 28-page agreement that is single-spaced in 10-point font, so I don't know, I don't have the whole thing.
So we paid a lot of money for it, huh?
Yeah, so, but the way it often works in order to facilitate things is that I don't believe there's a requirement in there to bring the change orders to the board for approval. It's going to be something that's going to be charged against the construction manager's contingency. On the other hand, if it is something that is initiated as a change in scope by us as the owner, in that case, it can be done, and it would require a adjustment in the GMP, upwards or downwards, depending on whether it's expanding or contracting the scope. But it's all, I can assure you, it's all dealt with in the agreement there, and that's pretty much how it works. In the past, and we may have even delegated in this agreement, I'm not sure that we did, I'd have to look at it, because what you may really remember when it came to change orders is the long motion that you'd often have to address, because that was required by the Public Contracts Act, Section 33E9, that says any change order, either plus or minus $10,000 in the aggregate or by itself in the aggregate, considering other previous change orders, and anyone that extends or contracts the time for performance by 30 days or more, those require express approval by the board. But I think maybe we even delegated that power in the agreement here. So change orders that are determined by the construction manager and or in coordination with the architect, I believe that there's an interfacing of that under the supplementary and general conditions. Those are expedited by not bringing them all to the owner. And the only ones that are really required, according to my recollection, are those that are initiated as changes in scope by the owner, by us. And those would come to the board because they're initiated by us, and the board would be informed about them.
All right, because without change orders, I keep thinking that our contingency fund should be flush, because the Quinn should be eating any kind of cost overruns. We're giving you money, here's the specs that you have to build this on. So not seeing change orders, I believe that if we budgeted $500,000 come the end of the project, we have $500,000 still in the contingency fund. If they're dipping into the contingency fund, there has to be a valid explanation. And me speaking with American Grading, who was doing some of the soil work out there, just within the last week I found out that supposedly, and I'm validating it now, or we don't need the big discussion on air, but I guess there was $100,000 change, according to them, above and beyond their scope, that Quinn gave them, because I guess when we started getting down to the foundation, there was a lot of goop soil problems, and he said they requested additional dollars because of an unforeseeable whatever conditions. Okay, great. So he got compensated. So does that compensation come from the Elk Grove Park District, or does it come from Quinn? Because we did soil borings, and I guess what I'm saying, if it's coming from the Park District, it'd be nice to know about it.
So the way Tom did a nice job explaining, so Bill, the way this works is the board approved a certain dollar amount, $8,086,000.
Correct.
We hired Quinn to take that GMP, and do not, so they have the authority under this contract to spend allowance and contingency as long as it doesn't change the contract. Now, if we have a scope or a change that would affect the contract, I would have to come back to you guys and say, this is gonna change the $8,086,000. So we've given them the authority to get this project done for this bag of money.
Okay, now I didn't think the contingency was their bag of money. I thought it was our bag of money.
Yeah, so I got rid of the owner contingency in the budget.
Okay.
We have no owner contingency.
Okay.
So I did that because I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was one of those fluff things. I said, we don't need it. And right now, we're at about, last check, $165,000 left in contingency, which is pretty good. I think we had $300,000 in contingency as part of the project.
Tom, if we were to have gone with a general contractor instead of a construction manager, does that all change?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different agreement, and
Because that might be the next time we do a project of this size. We should maybe teach ourselves a little bit more about GC versus CM, because there is a major difference in who's got the liability, where the money comes from. it's
I think we had.
not for everybody.
I think we had that discussion, and
But
from my recollection, it was, that's why we went with this, so we knew what our dollar budgeted amount was, and we know, unless we make a change, that's all it's gonna cost us, so.
Well, I mean, the next time we do a $8 million budget, it would be good to look at it again, because
Well, I
things
agree, we do
change.
it, historically, we've done it with every
Yeah.
project, since I've been on the board.
It's been,
we-
yeah.
Every board, we have a discussion, on CM, construction manager, or we wanna go the other way, and the pros and cons, given the project and who we have on staff to, if we're not gonna do it that way as well, to monitor it and check on it and so forth, so.
So, Bill, to your point, you thought there was $500,000 in that contingency?
Yeah.
And what was it really, though?
I'm gonna have to, I can get.
I guess my real question
That's
is
real-
the unforeseeable. I needed to be comfortable that any unforeseeable, which we did with the soil conditions, if the cost was being borne by Quinn or being borne by the park district.
Quinn.
That's all.
You know, there's some
Okay.
very specific language in that agreement that I do recall that deals with that one particular exigency, which is addressing unforeseen subsurface soil conditions. I can follow up with you and get you the language on that, but it is addressed there specifically.
Okay.
So I think in that case, Bill, Quinn chose to take it out of their contingent. They probably could have come back to us and said, this is unforeseen, but they said, you know what? It's going good right now. We have the money. We're just going to keep it into the budget of the project. And so that's why we had to come back to you, or I haven't.
Which is fine, you know, me not knowing profit margins for, you know what, construction managers. I just want to make sure if they get hit with something that affects their overall profit margin, that it's their control and not ours, that they're not unintentionally cutting corners elsewhere to get that profit margin back. That's all.
No, and I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that they can do that. Their profit margin is pretty set as far as per the agreement. They're given a certain amount to manage it, and they're given a certain amount of money to do this. And if they go over, it's on them.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if there's money left in the contingent, does it go back to them or to us?
Purchase to us.
Okay.
It's kind of like you gave your kid $10 to start a business, and they come back and say it only costs $8. They give you the $2 back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like you to confirm in the agreement, if you could.
Sure.
Whether or not, how that contingency then, if it was just a budget item for them, for their purposes.
It is. I can confirm that right now.
Well, it's not, because to me, a budget item for them is that if they save it, then that's just money in their pocket. We're going to pay regardless, so if it's.
It's still our money. We just allowed them to manage the project to get it done with contingency if they need it.
Okay, so if we can clarify
I
the
can get you that.
language as
Sure.
to whether or not that contingency needs to be approved before it's spent, or,
Yeah, I'm quite sure it doesn't. In the one area of the subsurface soil conditions that are surprised because they were concealed or whatever, that's normally dealt with in construction agreements with public bodies that calls for equitable apportionment of the risk to both parties. But our contract here supersedes that. They can take it out of the contingency. And the contingency, by the way, up front was a negotiated percentage or amount.
right. I just want to make sure that
Yeah, I'll
we're
get
following
you.
procedures as far as if they're supposed to get that portion approved.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can check the legal on that, and on your end, if you could get an itemization of what the contingency, if they have spent money out of the contingency, what it's been on, what they've spent on.
Yeah, sure.
And then if we need to have further discussion, we can go from there. Does that satisfy
Yeah,
your
yeah.
inquiry on that?
Yeah. Golf course committee question.
Well, and the only comment, because Bill had mentioned that earlier to me today about, the information that they went over in that one thing. My only concern is that we make sure that they're not taking shortcuts in other areas to make up that money. You know what I mean? That we're on top. I know we monitored the project, you guys are over there.
Well, and the architect does too, so.
Right.
So we have a few people watching the hen house here.
Right.
The architect is gonna hold them to the plans, they're gonna hold the architect to the plans, I'm gonna
Village
hold
codes,
them.
they call it.
The village is gonna hold them, we're the park district, so we have, the coop is being watched.
Fantastic.
And being on air, I was never, ever insinuating that we're not watching it. I wanted to know what they can legally do and what we can legally do if there's more unforeseeables.
Yeah, and it's just, we want to feel comfortable being on top of it too. You guys are there every day managing, seeing what's going on. as a board, we see it when we either ask or you give us a report. So it's good for our information that we're comfortable with the process and that, make sure everybody's on top of it.
Because there was discussion, Bill, about that. Should we go to get the change order? And so a decision was left up to Quinn. Do you want to take it out of the project, or do you want to go back and change the agreement, which is the budget?
Right.
And they decided they had enough. Seemed like they had enough to absorb it within the parameters of their contract. So that's what happened there.
And between Quinn and Williams, yourself, Brad, Tom, Jeremy, a lot of people ask, so I don't like to guess because we shouldn't have to guess. Are we still planning on, that's the most asked question, when are we planning on opening? I tell them around Thanksgiving. Is that accurate?
So we're
Don't go early, I'd rather.
No,
just have
I've
a
asked
later one.
staff to come up with a plan because we got to transition from the trailer out of there, and we're going to need occupancy, and we're not sure when we'll probably get temporary at some point. So to answer that right now, I still think November 15th is a date that we might be, but do we want to open sooner than that or later?
If it's ready, I want to open when it's ready,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I want to also be somewhat accurate that Thanksgiving sounds good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving pieces, obviously, with supply shortages, obviously we're trying to do our best to give as much lead time as possible, not to mention staffing. Obviously, we know what's going on with staffing, and we have to hire and ramp up a lot of staff. Obviously, it doesn't take a lot of staff to run the trailer. So there's a lot of factors that go into, but that is, yes, Ben's timeframe that you gave is our plan. Things can change, but that is definitely our.
It might make sense to wait till after Thanksgiving, November 15th's always been the time we're shooting for. Again, it might make sense to wait the extra 2 weeks, because there's issue with the trailer or transitioning. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Commissioner Carlson on the golf course? Okay, Youth Committee, Commissioner Carlson.
So we had the first splash party, July, I think it was 8th. Went really well. There was over 100 kids there. It was a little bit cold that night, but didn't seem to bother them much. There's no way I'd have gone in the water, but. And so it seemed to go real well. And the next one is August 6th from 8:15 to 10:15, and it's grades 6 through 11, and it's free for Elk Grove kids. And that's the end of it.
What do they have to do to show that they're from Elk Grove? Just an ID or anything?
Didn't have to show anything.
Nothing? Okay. Show up in a swimsuit.
The Grenadier tattoo.
Any other questions? Commissioner Carlson. Okay, Adult Committee, that's mine, and we met on last Tuesday, July 20th. Everything's going great over there. I want to remind everybody the new buzz is out for July, August, and September. Has a lot of good information, all different activities going on at the Heddendorf Center. So make sure you can pick that up either at the Sheila Ray Center or at any of our facilities. We talked about looking at expanding hours there now that COVID hopefully is getting under control, and trying to expand it from 2:30 to 4:30. They're still looking at that. I think Colleen comes back in 2 weeks, and they're going to wait and try and get that finalized after she comes back. But they're looking to possibly expand hours there. Couple of the highlights for activities there. The Ambassador Choir is back singing every Thursday, 10 a.m. They got a movie in the park or in the theater. It's going to be outside at the Heddendorf on August 8th at 11:30 a.m. So you might want, I'm sorry, it's not outdoors. It's at the theater, Elk Grove Movie Theater, on August 4th at 11:30 a.m. And there's also the summer concerts. The next one is August 18th at the Heddendorf as well. So check out the brochure, a lot of good activities, and they're back open and active as can be. So that is my report. We also have been adding the foundation. I know Matt and Kelly, if you want to tell us a little bit about the foundation meeting?
Yes, we had a great foundation meeting this past week, and one of our board members, Scott Sachs, has volunteered to work with us on doing a website for the foundation. So that'll be a little bit down the road, but him and some of his staff will be working on putting together a foundation website that they're going to run to get the word out a little bit more about what the foundation is doing. But one of the things that the foundation is doing, if you came to play picnic and party, hopefully you had an opportunity to purchase your duck raffle ticket. We are having a huge event on August the 8th at Rainbow Falls at 6:30. And this is a duck race. And so you have an opportunity for $5 to purchase a duck chance, and your duck will race down the lazy river. And if it's one of the first winners in the heat, you have a chance of winning a 2022 Family Rainbow Falls Pass, one of 10 Coach's Corner gift cards, courtesy of Coach's Corner, so we thank them for their donations, and a $100 gift card to the Container Store. And a great prize that was just donated was a overnight at the Ridge Resort up in Lake Geneva. So these are great prizes. This year, you do not have to be present to win, but all of the proceeds are benefiting the foundation and helping some of our local families. All the money is staying here in Elk Grove, and it's helping some of our families participate in some of our recreational opportunities here at the Park District. So a small $5 donation can get you a weekend up in Lake Geneva, and you're also doing something really good for your community as well. So, and if you are a business owner watching tonight and you'd like to donate a price for the event, we are a 501c3 organization, so it would be a tax write-off for you, and you can reach out to myself, Kelly Carbon, here at the administration building at the Park District, and we'd be happy to have a chat with you about your donation. So, thank you.
Thank you for the update. Any questions for Kelly? Okay. Old business. Is there any old business? I just had one item, Ben, that we had a gentleman here last week, or last meeting, asking about Johnson Park, a fence, a temporary fence that we have up there, and some grass that wasn't being mowed where it was wet, and some drainage issues. Any update on that to report?
Sure, the grass has been mowed. It was pretty high, but it's a wet area that we're gonna address in a capital improvement project for 2022. And the fence is a temporary fence that goes up, I wanna say, end of April-ish, and stays up through beginning of July, so that's been removed. So yeah, we've, I think, addressed his major concerns.
Okay.
Once the drainage gets fixed, it'll be better.
Was there also an issue of something being on our property line? Was that checked as well? I thought he had mentioned that.
Yeah,
The pool.
yeah, so we had talked, we'd sent a letter to Karen just to remind her to keep her pool on her property and not on the Park District side. So.
Okay. So it's not on there. That's been,
As far as I know, it's been moved back onto her property.
Okay.
But we reminded her that she should leave it on her property
okay.
and not the Park District.
That same resident was the one that was asking about motor vehicles as carts for the golf course. We did kind of look into that, and it's just not conducive. It's not cost effective. Some of them are charging $35 an hour. If you have a 4-hour round of golf, that's, do the math.
Right.
So we will not be moving forward on that at this point.
Which you kind of figured, because we already have a large investment in the carts we have.
Yeah.
So we would want to duplicate that.
And plus we'd have to go through the village as well.
Yeah.
You know, motorized vehicles.
Okay. Sounds good. New business, adoption of ordinance 422, an ordinance authorizing the granting of a permanent water main easement at Udall Park and directing the execution and delivery of a water main easement agreement in conjunction therewith. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? And Ben, you just wants to remind the public what this easement is for.
Sure. This new water main connections from Redwood Avenue to Perry Drive will help Village village's water system with increased capacity in case of fire, provide redundant connection point in case of water main break, and will improve water quality to the residents at the eastern end of Redwood Drive who are currently on a dead-end section of the water main.
This was requested by the village, correct?
Yes, it's an improvement. Unfortunately, got to cut through our park.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions? Other questions? Concerns? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. And lastly, payment of the bills. A motion for approving the bills for July 8th, 2021, in the amount of $142,835.51. For July 9th, 2021 P cards, in the amount of $136,929.93. And for July 15th, 2021, the amount of $518,755.25.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. And lastly, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes, Kathy.
Commissioner Bianchi?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. This meeting is adjourned.